ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So here we find Lord Kapila begins to describe the different kinds of punishment the sinful living entity has to undergo in the abode of Yamaraj. So these few verses will be describing about those punishments. So here it is said, Adipanam Swagatranam. Swagatrana means one's gatra. Gatra is limbs. Swa means our own. Adipanam. So in the abode of Yamaraj, for such a sinful person, his limbs will be set on fire. Sometimes you will find that people, they set on fire the flesh of some animals. Their limbs, their bodies set on fire and they eat them. So similarly, the person who is sinful like this, his own limb will also be set on fire in place of abode of Yamaraj. So Adipanam Swagatranam, and then Veshtaya Itva, meaning being surrounded with Ulmukha Adibihi. Ulmukha means burning firewood. So his body is surrounded with burning firewood and his limbs are burning. Then Atma Mamsa Adanam, he is made to eat Atma Mamsa, his own flesh. He is made to eat there. Kwapi means sometimes. So sometimes he is made to eat his own flesh, swakritam, paratopi, or sometimes some other living entities are made to eat his flesh. So he is placed in the midst of burning pieces of wood and his limbs are set on fire. In some cases, he is made to eat his own flesh or have it eaten by others. So Prabhupada is saying in the end, there is no wonder that in the abode of Yamaraj, one who had a very enjoyable life eating others' flesh has to eat his own flesh. So this kind of punishment is specially for people who are addicted to eating other living entities' flesh. This is the kind of punishment he has to undergo, that in the abode of Yamaraj, he will be surrounded with fire, his limbs will be burned, and then he personally will have to eat his own flesh sometimes, or sometimes others will be eating his flesh. So you can imagine what kind of severe punishment it is. So I remember that we used to have in our Bangalore temple some cultural fest and heritage fest and some Gita course for students, children especially, school going children. So to teach them certain kind of values, spiritual values, we used to have some small role plays. Just like one of the value when we wanted to teach them was about fault finding. So we used to divide the children into two groups, and we would select out of them. One will be made to enact, to play a role of honeybee, and another student would play the role of housefly. So, and then those in the group, other groups, they would be labeled on their backside with different names of the items. So somewhere, some student on his back, he will be named as jasmine flower. Somewhere, some student will be, on his back it will be written honey or jaggery, and on some back it will be written stool, pus, blood, flesh, such kinds of things. And then we would train those two students, saying that it is only a role play, do not worry. You go around in those groups and find out the objects of your liking. You are a honeybee, so you should select those items which honeybee would select. So they will gather all those students, they will go on the backside of the student and they will gather in different groups, two different groups. And then we will ask them to read out what all you have selected, Mr. Honeybee. So honeybee would read out, I have selected jasmine flower, I have selected honey, I have selected jaggery, like this. And then we will say housefly, what all you have selected. And then he will read out blood, pus, flesh, all these things. So similarly, this was one of the role play to teach the value of fault finding. That actually we should be like the honeybee, which only goes and selects the good things, whereas the housefly will go to all dirty things. So those who are finding fault, they will be only looking for dirty things. So Prabhupada gives that example that devotee should be like honeybee, not housefly. So this was one of the value. Another value, sometimes when we had one more role play. So specifically, Chanchalpati Prabhu would do that in acting. So that role play was to teach the value of not inflicting pain on other living entities by cutting their throat, by eating meat, flesh. Because One of the very important thing is, by giving pain to others, we are gratifying our senses. So, to teach this important value, Chanchalpati Prabhu, he would come to the stage and he will announce, I want some brave boy, cute brave boy to come to the stage. So everybody will raise their hand. Sir, I am brave, very brave. Nobody will say I am not brave. And then one brave boy would be selected, cute looking, nice, and he would be called on the stage. And then Prabhu would announce, now I am having a needle in my hand and I want to do an experiment on this brave boy. The experiment is, he is very brave. Experiment is, I will pierce his palm with this needle very quickly, do not worry. It will be very quick. And the needle should come out from this part to another part. So already all the students, they will be closing their eyes. My God. And some of them will be, already saying. And then that boy also would be already afraid. And then just for acting, he will just take the needle near him and he will be very scared. So that time, he would announce and he would explain this value. So he would say, see, like you do not like to see another person undergoing so much of pain. Even though you may be feeling he is very brave and he is also thinking I am very brave, but still, even that much pain one cannot undergo, that he can just pierce his palm very quickly and let the pin come out from the other side. Imagine what kind of pain the other living entities undergo. Helpless living entities, they undergo. When their throat is being cut, take a knife and just try to cut the throat of another living entity. So, this is very important. This principle is given in the scripture. Atmavat sarva bhuteshu. One should consider every living entity like his own self. So as much pain I feel, that much pain other living entities also undergo. You see? But the living entities, because of sense enjoyment, they become very hard-hearted. They cannot see the pain of other living entities. But when that same pain is inflicted upon them, then they understand the pain. So this punishment is inflicted on them to make them remember and understand what kind of pain they had given to other living entities for their own sense enjoyment. See? So, this is in Krishna consciousness. That is why this is one of the very important principles. This is one of the most basic principle in Krishna consciousness. There are so many rules and regulations. One must rise early in the morning, one must read every day books of Srila Prabhupada, attend different programs, do some services. But the most basic principle which Prabhupada would take an oath from his disciple is these two very important things. 4 regulative principles, following the 4 regulative principles, because they are pillars of sinful life. These two things cannot go together. Spiritual advancement and sinful life cannot go together. Dharma is standing on 4 religious principles. The moment you break those principles, it is adharma, it is irreligion. And Krishna says very clearly in Bhagavad Gita that people, if their life is filled with adharma, papa karma, they cannot attain me. Yesham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmana. Until and unless one has given up sinful life and has taken to pious activities, te dvanda moha nirmuktam, he cannot become free from dualities of this material world. Bhajante mam dhradavrataha, and he cannot worship me with determination. So very important principle, that follow the 4 regulative principles and I will chant 16 rounds. Correct? When Prabhupada gave initiation, these are the only 2 things he took oath from his disciple, that I will follow the 4 regulative principles: no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling. You see? Then one may wonder from where these principles have come. These are invented by Prabhupada, these 4 principles: no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling. You see? No. This is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. It's mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is said that Parikshit Maharaj, when he was roaming in his kingdom to see if everything is going all right, this is after the disappearance of Lord Krishna, and Kali Yuga has started to begin showing different symptoms. So he was very vigilant to see that Kali does not enter his kingdom. He knew that after the disappearance of the Lord, Kali has started entering. So once when he was touring his kingdom, he saw that one low-class man, attired as a king, as a Kshatriya, in the garb of a king, he is beating a bull and a cow with his club. And the situation was that so terribly he was beating that the bull was standing now only on one leg. Its 3 legs had been broken by that severe beating. And it is urinating, being afraid, fearful, and practically looking like that final leg will also perish and bull can any time fall down. And the cow, on the other hand, is also beaten terribly. There are tears in the eyes of the cow. It is separated from its calf. And there is so much fear in that cow. So, Maharaj Parikshit gets down from his horse immediately, takes out his sword and challenges this low-class man. He says, do you think because Lord Krishna and Arjuna are not present that you can do this kind of offense to to such offenseless creatures? You're thinking, because Lord Krishna is not present, so they have become helpless. There is no one to take care of them. So he challenges them. So he tries to find out who is this bull and who is this cow being so severely beaten like this, and who is this person disguised like this. So when he was challenging this person, he realized that actually Maharaj Parikshit is not an ordinary person. He was descendant of Arjuna. And just like when Lord Krishna and Arjuna were present, such miscreants were not present. So similarly, he cannot escape the wrath of Maharaj Parikshit. So understanding this, he immediately gave up his false dress. And he knew that I will be now punished, I will be vanquished. Immediately he surrendered to the feet of Maharaj Parikshit. And it is a principle of Kshatriya that even an enemy, deadliest of the enemy, if he has surrendered, his life is spared. So Parikshit Maharaj told him, do not fear, I will not kill you because you have completely surrendered. But you can go out of my kingdom. You cannot stay in my kingdom. There is no place for you. Because you are irreligion personified. So you cannot stay in my kingdom. So then he said, my dear Parikshit Maharaj, now I am also one of your subjects, being surrendered unto you. Give me some place. Because I don't find anywhere I go, I will be able to see you standing with your bow and arrow. So I don't think I'll be able to find some place. You assign me some places where I can stay. Because if you assign those places, then I can stay in those places. So it is at that point that Parikshit Maharaj, he assigned him 4 places. So that is mentioned in Bhagavatam. This is in 17th chapter. Dyutam Panam Striyaha Suna Yatra Adharmas Chaturvidaha. So he said, you can go and reside in these 4 places where irreligion will flourish. So there you can reside. So these are the 4 sinful pillars. If these 4 things are present, dharma is absent. And if these are followed, one abstains from them, then it is possible that actually one is following a religious life. So, Dyutam means gambling, Panam means intoxication, Striyaha means illicit connection with women, and Suna means animal slaughter. So he said, anywhere where intoxication is going on, where gambling is going on, where illicit connection, illicit sex is going on, or where animal slaughter, eating of animal is going on, you can stay in those places. And Parikshit Maharaj knew that till Parikshit Maharaj is present, there is no opportunity for Kali to find any of these places. He was so vigilant There will be no place where gambling will be going on. There will be no place where slaughter of animals will be going on. No places where intoxication or illicit connection with women will be going on. And that is the best way to keep Kali out. You see, that is the best way to keep Kali out. Best way to keep irreligion out. People do not know. So, Prabhupada, that is why he stressed these principles so much. Because if our life is filled with sinful activities, then we cannot progress on the path of religion in spiritual life. So, that is why we find Bhagavatam, which is considered to be a spotless Purana, actually it establishes the highest truth. No compromise whatsoever. Not like in Karma Kanda portion, where you will find that some concession is given, wherein one can, he can eat the flesh of other animals by doing by following certain niyamas, as it is given in the scriptures. So, Bhagavatam is establishing paro dharma, yator bhakti radhokshaje. It is establishing pure devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these descriptions are given so that we can understand that actually it is not only sinful, and because it is sinful, there is penalty for that, there is punishment for that. This is a criminal act as given in the scriptures. This is where adharma will reside. So, that is the reason we in Krishna consciousness avoid this kind of sinful life. So there is a very nice, I'll just read a small portion of that. Prabhupada in the purport is saying that anyone, any government, if they want to establish dharma and they want to root out adharma, irreligion, they should follow certain simple principles. Very practical principle Prabhupada gives in this. Very interesting. Whenever you find little time, go through this. Very interesting prescription Prabhupada is giving for modern government. If they want to uproot the quarrel of Kali Yuga, the unrest which we are finding in this age of Kali, if we want to uproot the influence of Kali Yuga, because one should not simply say, no, what can be done, it is Kali Yuga. So Prabhupada used to say, only lazy people will give this kind of excuse. Kali Yuga was there, but Parikshit Maharaj did not allow Kali to enter. Isn't it? Prabhupada used to say, if it is raining, you cannot give an excuse, lazy excuse, I will not do work. No, you take umbrella and go. Take protection and go. Isn't it? We have to do our duty. So Prabhupada is saying, the state, in other words, the state should categorically stop all sorts of gambling, drinking, prostitution and falsity. The state which wants to eradicate corruption by majority may introduce the following religion in the following manner. Number 1, 2 compulsory fasting in a month, if not more austerity. Okay, you do not want to take much more austerity, take little austerity. Compulsory fasting should be introduced 2 days in a month. And Prabhupada is saying, even from the economic point of view, such 2 fasting in a month will save tons of food. So these 2 fastings are 2 Ekadashis. Today is also Ekadashi. So we should not indulge in too much eating on Ekadashi day. Minimum, whatever is required. So don't do, if your body It is difficult to do Nirjal, and not that you do Nirjal and say, Prabhu, I am doing Nirjal, so whole day I will sleep on the bed. I will not do any service. No. Better do service. Better chant the holy name. It is not just meant for following Niyama Graha. The whole idea Prabhupada gave was, if you can do Nirjal and at the same time enthusiastically do your services and your chanting, sadhana, everything, very good. Better do that. But if you find it difficult, if pangs of hunger is so much that it is troubling you, it is giving you weakness, you cannot get out of the bed, then better take something and do service, isn't it? But don't indulge on Ekadashi day on too much eating, because this is meant actually for fasting. So tapasya is required to purify our existence. It is important. And then next Prabhupada is saying, this is for completely avoiding illicit connection. There must be compulsory marriage of young boys and girls attaining 24 years of age and 16 years of age respectively. No harm in co-education and colleges, provided boys and girls are duly married. See, the Divorce Act is encouraging prostitution. This should be abolished. If we tell this, there will be a lot of, resistance. What are you saying? But actually this is a fact. Then, citizens of the state must give in charity 50% of their income for purpose of creating spiritual atmosphere in the state, in the human society, individually and collectively. You see, this is another. And then Prabhupada is saying, this is required for, they should preach principles of Bhagavatam by Karma Yoga, doing everything for Krishna's satisfaction, regularly hearing Bhagavatam from authorized person or realized souls, chanting the glories of the Lord congregationally at home or at places of worship, rendering all kind of service to Bhagavatas, engaged in preaching Bhagavatam, residing in a place where atmosphere is saturated with God consciousness. If the state is regulated by the above process, naturally there will be God consciousness everywhere. And then it will be possible that we will be able to relieve all living entities from the clutches of these kind of severe punishment. Devotees are actually called as para dukkha dukhi. So it is meant that devotee can see the kind of horrible suffering the living entity which is skilled for our sense enjoyment is undergoing. And then later on, those who kill, how much more suffering they have to indulge in. They have to undergo. So devotees can see this and they can actually have mercy on these living entities, understanding that if I can make people Krishna conscious, all these living entities can be relieved from this great miserable condition of life. So we'll stop with this Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.